Hey my friends, I'm really sorry but my speech has almost completely gone now, and many of you would not understand me. However, I am still feeling fine physically, which is great news. Today we are looking at a Led Zeppelin song that never appeared on an album. We are also going to look at some of the tracks the Led Zepp plagiarized.
Rare Led Zeppelin song without a studio album. Led Zeppelin were purposefully not a singles band. For the majority of their career, the hard rock icons didn't release a single in their native UK. Since their American audiences were exponentially larger, singles were necessary evils. But Led Zeppelin considered themselves an album-focused group throughout their career. There was never a time when you couldn't find a song featured on a single that wasn't already on a studio album. With one notable exception, that is. Throughout their entire career, only one single released by Zeppelin featured a B-side that never found its way onto a studio album. That was in 1970 when the group released Immigrant Song as a single. The track wound up being the first track on what would become Led Zeppelin 3, and its B-side was representative of the more acoustic direction that Zeppelin would be taking on the rest of Zeppelin 3. Strangely enough, the song itself wouldn't be included. Hey Hey What Can I Do is an almost fully non-electric outing for Led Zeppelin, featuring Jimmy Page on acoustic guitars and John Paul Jones on mandolin. The only plugged-in instrument in the mix is Jones's bass guitar. John Bonham bashes out his signature rhythms while Robert Plant gamely belts out his blues-influenced lyrics about his partner who stays drunk all the time and can't stay true. Led Zeppelin were a band noted for pilfering songs too. We'll have a little look into that here too. It seems that whenever we post an article about Led Zeppelin, music fans are quick to point out the band's history of ripping off old blues musicians without properly crediting them. While blues music does have a rich legacy of artists covering other artists, to the point where the original author of a song is incredibly diluted, Zeppelin has indeed run into some controversy by taking writing credits where they do not belong. Since Led Zeppelin's latter material was largely original, as their influence has shifted along the way, we'll take a look at the band's first 4 albums and see just how plagiarized they actually were. Number 1. Good Times, Bad Times. This is an all-Zepp original, with the main driving riff written by a bassist multi-instrumentalist John Paul Jones. Number 2. Babe I'm Gonna Leave You, a song written by folk singer Ann Breeden which was popularized by Joan Baez. Since Baez credited the song as a traditional, Zeppelin put Trad R. Page. Decades later, Breeden was made aware of the Zeppelin song and won a large back payment of royalties. Since 1990, the song has been credited as Breeden, Page and Plant. Number 3. You Shook Me, a song written for Muddy Waters by Willie Dixon, credited as such. Dixon was a huge influence on Jimmy Page, however this track was recorded just a few months earlier by Page's former Yardbirds bandmate, Jeff Beck, on his 1968 album Truth. Once more, John Paul Jones played the organ on both tracks. Coincidence? Doubtful. Number 4. Dazed and Confused. Wholly identified with Zeppelin, Dazed and Confused was actually the title of a song on an album by singer-songwriter Jake Holmes. Jimmy Page took the title, changed the melody and the lyrics just enough to avoid a lawsuit, and the rest is history. Number 5. Your Time Is Gonna Come, an actual Zeppelin original. Number 6. Black Mountain Side, a Page instrumental inspired by Burke Jansch's Down by Black Waterside. The song was taught to Page by Al Stewart, who worked with both Page and Jansch. Number 7. Communication Breakdown, another Zeppelin original. Number 8. I Can't Quit You Baby, a classic Willie Dixon blues tune, properly credited to Dixon. Number 9. How Many More Times, a medley piece comprised of sections that are either inspired by or direct replicas of Howlin' Wolf's How Many More Years, Albert King's The Hunter, and Jeff Beck's Beck's Bolero. The original credited just Zeppelin, but this has since been amended to include Howlin' Wolf's name. Scoreboard, based on the original credits, not re-releases. Original, 3. Covered with credit, 2. Ripped off, 4. Mixing the classic come-ons of Zeppelin's past with the folkier direction of their future, Hey Hey What Can I Do would have made the perfect addition to Led Zeppelin 3. But for whatever reason, the track was left off the final album, making its appearance on the Immigrant Song single its only appearance in Led Zeppelin's catalogue for a number of years. If you were in the UK and couldn't get your hands on an import copy, there's a solid chance that you had no idea Hey Hey What Can I Do even existed. The track was never performed live by Zeppelin during their contemporary career, and its status as a deep cut was good enough to land Hey Hey What Can I Do a spot on the 1982 compilation album Coda. By that point, the song was over a decade old before it was made its first appearance on a full-length album. The inclusion of the track on subsequent box sets and compilations made it more well known to the Zeppelin faithful. But for a number of years you could have been on an elite level of fandom if you knew the folky strums of Hey Hey What Can I Do. So the fact that this track didn't go on an album makes this song unique. And it was one that they didn't rip off either. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and also check out Hey Hey What Can I Do as well, and let me know what you think. I'll be back with the best content I can, and a big thanks to my buddy LG for voicing this episode. If you would like to voice one for me, please let me know. In the meantime, take good care.
I would very much like to thank my friend LG for kindly voicing this for me. I will be back with the best content I can, just as soon as I can. In the meantime, you take good care.